I'm from Florida originally, and I've been living in San Diego since I was about 24. I moved here, actually 25, 2011. So I'm getting ready to turn 35 this year, and
Oh yeah.
I actually went to school for marketing. And if anyone who in the group went to school for marketing, you know that uh, your general bachelor's degree is pretty general. And so I went out and after college and looking at the jobs I could get and things like that, and I was pretty much fit to be a salesperson or work for a marketing agency, but really didn't even have the skills coming out of a general marketing degree. Kind of just had a lot of knowledge about marketing. So I went into sales, and that was my first couple jobs, but I always knew that I wanted to start my own business. So I was always kind of thinking about that in the background, even in the early stages of just getting out of school. I just knew that that was the path that I wanted to go on, but really didn't have any clue how to get there at that point. And so I just was out just getting some experience. But I also, during that, those 2.5, 3 years working, I just knew that that 9 to 5 schedule wasn't for me. And just kind of always been a bit of a rebel and gone against the grain on a lot of things. So I find, so fast forward, I quit my jobs or my job when I was around 25, decided to move to California, just had a random opportunity to move to California. And I found San Diego, and I also started to get a little inkling of interest into internet marketing at that time. But so I basically just worked some random jobs for a couple years, but probably around 26, 27, started studying in digital marketing, and then ended up getting a job working for a smaller agency, which worked with this other guy for a couple years, was super lucky to meet him, learned all the skills, and just got infatuated with learning this, this trade of internet marketing. And that's what kind of was the springboard into starting a business, just acquiring all the skills. So, and where I was at before we started was I was about 3 years into business and was starting to get some more recognition and more traction in the business just through word of mouth, and just realized that I was on this hamster wheel, or on this just kind of cycle of, I realized that there's like a breaking point in my time in my business, and I didn't really know exactly what to do. And I think that what this course has done for me is give a path to put these things in place, and it's really been helpful, and just to kind of solidify thoughts that things that I heard and thoughts, and then just really just kind of put that path in place. So before we met, I was a growing business, and now it's with some of the processes I've learned, I'm just really putting these things, the processes, and more people into place, and start to make it into the real business that I had envisioned. So it's really been helpful working. I think we started it in May, and yeah, it's definitely been transformative. So that's where I'm at.
Awesome, dude. So got it. So, sounds like the typical, path, like, the 4-hour work week type path, right? You're working the job, just, it's not for you. Start studying, learning, and then over the next few months and years, putting that into action, and, building the business, right? So, I mean, what what was it that, attracted you about like the agency business model in particular? Cause there's a lot of different, possibilities and paths in the internet digital marketing world. So what was it for you that made you say, okay, I want to get this agency going?
Well, it was one of the things was, okay, so I didn't have a lot of money. And so one of the things I knew needed to happen was I needed to learn a defined skill. And so I was looking for a skill or a trade that was valuable that I could learn. I just kind of the culmination of my background and then also, so I had a couple friends that had a digital marketing company. They were an SEO company, and this was 7 or 8 years ago. And when SEO was super popular, and I saw what they were doing. And then I connected with this guy named Joel, who was much older, and he's always kind of been one step ahead of everything in life. So he was, I saw what he was doing. I worked with him and saw this business that also it was really my goal to have a business that I could do from anywhere. So it was starting with no money, because you can start an agency with next to nothing. And yeah, it was just a way for me to get ahead. And then also just had all the possibilities of this like location independent business. And I was like, this is it, so and I always like working with businesses. So it just was really a fit for me. And yeah, it was everything, just people and just my path. So it's been a great thing to get into. So
awesome. Beautiful. And obviously, you're living an awesome life now in San Diego, and we'll dive into some of that in a bit. But I mean, just going back to, where you were kind of at a few months back. I mean, you're in business for a few years, you already had a multi-six-figure business. I mean, what were some of the specific kind of challenges that you were facing, or like obstacles that you were facing, that made you, say, all right, let me see if I need some support or what that looks like?
So you're saying when did I realize that I needed to get some coaching with you guys?
No, like what were some of the challenges that you were facing, I guess, right before that?
It was, I think, doing too many things and not really knowing what was the cause of this cycle. I knew that I needed to put people in place. I knew I needed to charge more. I knew I needed to do a lot of things, but I didn't know exactly how to do it. And so, that's what a lot of the value I've gotten out of this relationship is just that kind of solidifying the thoughts in my head and things like that. So yeah, it was just not having an exact path continually, 2 years of going like, here and then back up, and then really not seeing the light. So that's where I was at.
Gotcha. Awesome. Yeah. And I mean, like some people are in that spot for, a few years, sometimes a lifetime, right? Like, so, it's totally normal to hit, certain plateaus and obstacles. It's just, figuring out, all right, you know, what's the path around. And really, you know, one of the reasons that, you know, we ended up working together was, you know, because you're hungry and passionate about your work and also your life. And, you know, you're willing to do whatever it took. So that, you know, that was awesome. Right. So, I mean, so now, you know, tell us a little bit about, you know, what's anything that has changed, you know, any big breakthroughs that you've had the last few months. You know, you just spent a week or so off the grid in Nicaragua. That's where I got that sick picture for this interview, which was awesome. But yeah, tell us a little bit about, you know, some highlights from the last few months.
So let's see. Well, I've been saying no to some clients, and I've been taking on some clients for the new offers that I've developed over the last few months. So that's been good. Just having, and what the difference is with some of the new clients is that we have a more defined relationship to where, and a little bit better expectations with the client, which is, so it's a different expectation from the beginning, which I'm really, you know, trying to stick to that. So that whole thing has just freed up and you know, kind of mitigated a lot of random phone calls from new clients, and kind of just giving them more assurance to what's going on with some of the documentation, like the client success documents. And so it's just, you know, I also have a more defined processing with my pay-per-click. So I set up a pay-per-click team, and they're in the Philippines, and they've really been taking all that day-to-day stuff off my plate, which is just, and that's something that developed after I started the course. So I didn't have anyone doing pay-per-click. I was doing all the pay-per-click stuff. I had some other people doing other VA things. So, I mean, it's just, I think since May, I've really transformed into more, my day-to-day is more delegating tasks than doing tasks. And that has freed up my time to actually take on the right deals when they come my way. So, I mean, before there's definitely been times where I've been like, I can't take on another client right now. And, you know, now it's a matter of taking on the right client. So that's been a, you know, big change. And then,
Awesome.
Yeah, I took a trip. So business has been good. And then, yeah, I just feel like I'm more on the path to having that freedom, like I did when I was making, you know, $5,000 or $6,000 a month. I had a lot of free time, you know, and that was, you know, I was very happy then, and I think I'm still able to maintain that free time at the point I'm at right now, billing, you know, close to $20,000 a month. So
awesome. Yeah, that's, you know, it's interesting, right? It's like, you know, every next level up, there's a new set of challenges and problems that come up. And, you know, like I know people that, you know, kind of what you're talking about, they, you know, they're making enough to survive. You know, you're talking about 5-6K a month, and they opt to just kind of chill and stay there because they don't see the opportunity to grow without just sacrificing all of their time and all of their freedom. But, you know, it's like with every next level up, there's different challenges. I mean, for you, like, what was kind of what were some of those challenges that you faced on the next level up that you've had to kind of, you know, tweak and optimize, or like specific processes that you've set up so that you can, you know, 4 or 5x your previous, you know, numbers without sacrificing, you know, all your time and all your resources?
Well, I think there is a little bit there. You have to take different, and I think you have to take some more risks when you do want to take it to the next level after that freelance stage. So I think, yeah, it's risky quitting your job and going into that phase, but going into the next phase, I think you do have to take a little bit more of a real entrepreneur mindset, and like going from that basically freelance mindset, which is great and independent and everything like that, and you're starting to do, to set up your team and things like that. I think one of the challenges is when you are putting these things in place, you do have to take a few bigger leaps, and then also and what's been helpful is setting up the workflow processes is huge, especially because when you're hiring people, it's not perfect. It's never going to be perfect. You are going to have turnover, and when you're growing, that can be really really painful, or just a challenge. And you need to be able to get another qualified person in place and have those that training and things like that in place to be able to get that going smoothly. So I think just the workflow documents are huge, and then also just kind of sticking to a plan and just starting to make it a workflow where you can actually have your team working together virtually is another big challenge. So yeah, it's definitely a totally different animal going from from where I'm at now to being able to 2, 3, 5x this business. It's a totally different mindset and just different set of responsibilities that you got to be willing to take on. So I'm excited about that challenge, and I think you need to be that type of person, I guess, or just at that point in your life. So I think I'm there right now to where it's so this is all super helpful and everything. It's just it's going to be a big challenge, and that has to be exciting, and you have to want that. So
awesome.
Yeah, I mean, and you could stay anywhere. You could be a $10,000 a month or $10,000 a month company and be totally happy. I think at the point where you're like, one of the challenges is having the thought of, am I going to do this until I'm 50 or, and that's kind of the realization that you come to after being a freelancer for a few years, and
right.
The whole burnout thing that you guys talk about a lot. So, yeah, it's a totally new phase.
Yeah, totally. And I remember in our first conversation, you mentioned that, right? It's like, I'm cruising. I got some revenue. I got some clients, but like, am I going to do this till I'm 40 and 50? Right. So like, that's such a powerful question to ask. 'Cause like, it's so easy to get caught up in the day to day and be like, yo, like what's happening today, tomorrow, this week, next month, maybe at the furthest thought out, but you just totally lose track of like the long-term vision. So like, that's why, a big part of why you've been able to crush it and like why you keep growing is because you have that vision of the future that you're working towards, right? So, tell us a little bit about, what your day-to-day and week looks like, right? Now that you've, set a lot of this up, obviously you're still growing the business, but you're also enjoying yourself, and, you're not slaving, and, meeting client requests at like 3 a.m. or anything crazy like that. We've all done that, but yeah, take us through a day in the life of Brandon, and, what your day-to-day looks like.
Yeah. So my day, a lot of my days, I normally do something active in the morning. A lot of times, probably 2, 3 or plus days a week, I will go surfing in the morning, try to get out as early as possible. Yeah, I live right by the beach. I live
Awesome.
I used to walk to the beach. Now I'm like quick bike ride to the beach, and
Scooter. You got
either ride
scooters
down
too,
there,
right?
drive. Yeah, we had the scooters. We got the bird
Those are
scooters.
fun.
You saw
Yeah.
those. Are those in Colombia yet?
Yeah, so not Bird, but different brands. They've got them, which is pretty funny. But the people
Right.
driving here, you don't want to drive a scooter on the road. So, but sorry, go on.
Yeah. So, and then my morning is, we've done some work on what we do in the morning. I spend some time on sales in the morning. But my schedule, I try to really, keep my free time. So I love having my mornings, to myself. And then, I really, try to segment my days into work time and not work time. And so I do work most of the day. I'll start work probably around, if I'm going surfing, I start probably around 9:30 or 10, maybe later on those days, but that's not every day. So and then a couple hours on sales, working on proposals, following up with emails, and then any outreach for new business. And then I will just kind of tend to the projects for clients. And I have an SEO, a small SEO team. It's a technical SEO on-site guy and a writer. And then we also have a couple other freelance writers. So it's basically managing some of the content. They're writing it, and my SEO guys really stepped up to kind of be an SEO project manager. And then Facebook ads, I have specialists in place. It's actually 2 people. So just if there's any kind of reports or anything like that, and I'm kind of kind of being a second set of eyes on a lot of the ads. And just basically, I'm basically, my role is the project manager and client relationship manager right now. So that in itself is a big job. We have 15 clients and anywhere from like 12 to 15 clients right now. So, that's a full-time job in itself. And I think the next role is the next step is to get someone like an account manager to do that. And so that's it. And then I'm basically working on marketing and sales as much as I can.
Got it. Yeah. Awesome. I mean, that's the beauty of getting the delivery down and systemized and delegated so that you can spend most of your days on growing the business, right? It's crazy how many agencies, we'll talk to or hear about that are, I've been trying to grow this for years. And then when we get down to it, it's they're spending 80% of their time on delivery. and execution and fulfillment. So like, that's not going to result in growth, right? So, it's awesome that you've been able to make that transition. And that was really, one of the biggest challenges that you shared with me when we kind of first chatted. So it's awesome that you've been able to make that transition. So, I mean, what's next for you? Like what's a year out look like for you? And, what's your kind of exciting vision that you're moving towards now?
So I'm staying the path. I know we've gone back and forth on what I should be doing, as far as like the niche that I'm focusing on and things like that. But my goal is so last year I doubled my business. It's my goal to double my business again, in 2020. So 2019, I reached that goal of growing 100%, in sales, and I want to do that again this year. So, I'm just working on just generating more of these leads, and we're focusing mainly on dermatologists and plastic surgeons, and medical spas is our niche. So, just gonna focus on this, and then I also, I've been getting some good leads through my site. I'm actually going to redoing my website because it's like 3.5 years old. So it just needs a reface on the website. And then working more on my funnels, like ClickFunnels. So, more better marketing, and then later, I think after this year, I'm going to be looking for, potentially new business opportunities. My mind's been going crazy lately on all kinds of business ideas. So, just some of the stuff that we've been talking about, just higher level, purpose stuff. So hopefully, maybe either an e-commerce business, in the next year, or there's some other cool opportunities and some much bigger opportunities also. Mm-hmm. Looking at buying a house this year, and then getting into real estate and things like that. So we got
awesome
all kinds of businesses. Might buy a surf shop.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Awesome.
There's one for sale. So I don't know, all kinds of stuff on the horizon.
Cool. Have you thought about potentially exiting the agency, or do you just want to maintain that, maybe get somebody else to manage while you do the other things? Because that's another potential path.
Not yet. I think probably at least a couple more years in the agency business, if not longer. But yeah, I mean, definitely trying to systemize and continually, keep systemizing this business until I can get. I think it's going to take a couple more, maybe 2 account managers, and then maybe somebody else to do, business partner, business manager, something like that. But I think I'm a ways out from that. So
yeah,
just trying to focus on the deal flow right now.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
I'll keep the agency looking for other opportunities.
Yeah.
I'll keep the agency rolling, and, maybe someday be able to sell it or something, but who knows?
Yeah. Yeah, totally. And we're actually about to update some of the materials, and some of the stuff that we handle will address some of the account management and some of those things. So that might be helpful. But yeah, all right, awesome, dude. So yeah, I mean, keep growing the business, double the business, and then potentially, the more things are automated and growing, look at some other opportunities for business and building the wealth and having a better life. Awesome. All right, perfect. And so how can we keep up with you and follow along with everything that you've got going on? And all that?
I need to make an effort to get back on the calls. Those have been super helpful. Anytime I'm feeling lost or something, I try to chime in on a call. So, but no, you guys are great. Everything, love the program and everything. I think it's really good quality stuff. So, yeah, and you always tap me and say, hey, what's going on? And I go, oh, I need to be, not doing what I used to do, and kind of.
Yeah.
That's the thing is, just it's, I think staying on track and staying on goal and everything like that is a lot harder than it sounds when you first say it to yourself. It's so easy to go back to your old ways. And so, I mean, just those taps every once in a while I appreciate it.
Totally. Awesome, man. Well,
yeah.
And what's like your agency site, and anybody that may be listening, maybe there's partnership opportunities for your clients of dermatologists, med spas, plastic surgeons. How can we follow along?
So my site is www.brandliftdigital.com. It's BRANDLIF as in Frank T digital.com. And we're in San Diego. And then, I don't really do a lot on social media, unfortunately, but I don't have time for that right now. But
that's cool.
Yeah, I don't know. Hit me up if you want to chat. Anyone in the group, if you want to chat or collaborate on any work, you need any, SEO help or anything like that. Yeah, feel free to reach out. I'd love to connect with anyone in this group. And like I said, hopefully get on some of the calls soon. But yeah, I really would love to connect with anyone else in the group. So hit me up.
Awesome, dude. Well, yeah, thank you so much, Brandon, for sharing your story. And, can't wait to do this again soon and talk about even, more growth that you've had and awesome experiences. But yeah, dude, thanks so much.
All right. Thank you, Matt. Appreciate it.
All right.
Have a good one.